His name is Xtracrizby, and I swear I've seen him submit a lot of reviews before. So what we have here, he's doing his placements. He's playing Junkrat. It's on Dorado. Junkrat placement. I love this. He already has like the way I name stuff, which is very like pragmatic and not fancy or anything like that at all. I don't know what he normally places at, but whatever. We watch him all the same. Hi, Chet. There you go, buddy. Small note on Genjis like that, and it's just being really nitpicky. I almost question even saying it. Usually one concussive mine, if you get them pretty good, like what you did right there, they'll usually piss off. Depending on the range and what they can get. Like, he only got hit once, so it's questionable if you would ever try to engage again, but this season, I think what I'm going to have to do is start using, like, personally me, is start using concussive mines a little less frequently, because if you guys seen my play, like, I'm constantly using them, constantly moving around. It's a little bit of a waste, and sometimes I'm caught with my pants down with no concussive mines, or I could really use one when I just used one. So I'm really starting to, like, min-max concussive usage. That's a very good spot to hit. As you can see, like, you can see through the walls right now because it's, you know, a replay, but yeah, this is a good spot to hit. Maybe a little bit higher. So you can sit here and okay. Yeah, that works. A lot of times what I do is when you're fighting on the one side, like you're fighting over here, essentially as soon as you stop spamming that area or attacking that area, I would immediately launch myself across, but staying on the low ground with your team does allow you to assess the situation and then do it a little bit later. So, either ways are fine. Taking the flank. Yep. You can hear a Genji, so be wary of that. So this is all going perfect. That was kind of textbook Junkrat, right? You go in, you take the close side, you put pressure on there. You saw where they were retreating to. You got in front of that, or behind it, however you want to see it, and then you kind of just made the area shit to walk in. That's like as the hero was designed. Little fadeaway. So already at this point, you're down a couple. Oh, well, you're dead. That's fine. Basically, it doesn't matter. You died with your team. No big deal. Just know that when you see a couple deaths happen, probably start backing up a little bit. Xtracrizby's on the forums a lot? He is, isn't he? Maybe that's where I recognize the name, too. I definitely remember it from doing a couple reviews. Okay. Now, they do have a hit scan, so watch the far top right. Especially with a Deadeye, because they did have a McCree. Genji's on you. But that works. Genji's right on your ass. There he is. He's on the far right side. Push up. Get the choke. Okay. Not as greedy as a one. That's fine. So, at this point, he did get shot in the face, but I heard the Genji, so I knew the Genji didn't die, and he was still lurking around. Hold on, did he get saved by a frame? I think he got... Did he get saved by the frame that will protect you against a hog hook? So there's the one shot that missed. Second shot that missed. No, he got hit in the face. That's the one that actually hit him in the face. Is that because it's recorded? That's a really strange... Oh, and he just got shot. But my previous comment, you hear the Genji doing his thing. I heard the Genji's footsteps. So just be aware that when you push up, when there's someone left alive, the Genji didn't really cause a huge problem there. It was more than McCree that really helped you. But knowing someone's behind you, usually you won't push up as much because it's not as safe. Yeah. Okay. So on Dorado, on this point right here where you died, it's very common. I would almost say always expect the fight if you take the high ground. So if you took that damage, it takes a bit, but you'd have to like abort that jump right away. Okay, you challenged him, you got him. A Genji getting healed is going to be very tough. Okay, you got him with the trap. It wasn't the concussive that got him. It was the trap. Well, you're leading your shots decently. Second point, Dorado is a classic Junkrat Vigor as well. You die here a lot. There's a lot of open ground. Any way to get to a closed entry or closed flank always goes through some opening so they know you're going that way. Whenever you flank like this... Okay. Did he... Okay. Just this. You can hear him detonate his concussive mine way early. It's just one of those things that you have to internalize the timing of. Now, they're down one. They do have a McCree. He seems to be a decent shot. Okay, good. 2 supports, perfect. I was like, you have a chance to use your ultimate. Trap the hallway, put a little pressure on. Okay. Take the closed inside. Perfect. I always put a trap racing right where that McCree went. You can kind of hear him now. You're going to get flanked. Yep. Yeah. So at that crossroad, that intersection is where I would normally put a trap. Specifically for this reason. But we kind of had the leg up because we could see him through the wall. Okay, yep. Okay. Just sometimes I notice you're aiming your shots a little low. Okay. I mean, you guys just got turned on, that's all. Once, even then, I was going to say you probably could take the center ground once the McCree was knocked off. But going to that center ground is really risky when they got a really good hit scan. I'd say not much you could have changed there. Obviously, there may be some perfect way to play it, but hindsight's a bitch. Okay, that's a very good pick. So the hit scans are gone now. One little thing there. You cleared the hit scan, which kind of gave you free reign a bit. Oh, it actually trapped the low ground. That actually still works. Okay, this actually works even better because you can tire now. Sure, this is actually all going very well for you. Trap behind the cart. A trap there would have been great. Trap there worked though. Yeah, no, I think this was just, it went quite beautifully, even if you didn't mean to do some of that stuff. I have been noticing you do aim a little bit too low on some shots. But yeah, always recognize when you take care of their hit scan and it opens up the map for you. Because not only does it... Did it equip that for me? Okay. Not only does it allow you to like move around more freely and have more... It allows you to take a little bit more risks. Well, it's not really a risk if the hit scan's dead. But in a normal scenario, it allows you to take a little more risks. It allows your rip tire much higher chance of it working. Okay, at this point, usually I would flank, or I wouldn't flank, I would move over to your main pathway. And you're slowly getting there, you're slowly getting there. The only real downside is that you're not already there, and you can't guarantee the safety of this corner. Okay, yep, those are the correct angles. Get your health. Oh. That was a... Okay. Risky plays, but it worked out. There's a Pharaoh right above you, yep. Okay, this is going great. Now watch out for the Pharaoh. Perfect. This seems to be going very well. Like everything you're doing right now is there are cleanups you can have with your mechanics and your execution of things, but the concepts that you're going for are pretty much the same shit most GM Junkrats would do. And for anyone wondering, this is Junkrat's. I think this is his strongest point in the game. You can go on the... Okay. Couple things to talk about there. One, take the tire up the side of the house. You have a straight shot up the entire houseway. Where you took the tire. Right. The house is over here. It's like, there's the doorway right here. You got this. And then there's like the second doorway. That's where you tired from. You can come out this doorway, run up this doorway, and you'll get right up these houses here. If you go on this side or this side of the house, it'll get caught on the little awning. But this side, I mean, this is actually a perfect example. It's basically, these houses are just this house a different way, and you can climb up this wall very easily. You cannot climb up this wall very easily. So take it up top, and you can see this is... maybe you can't make it up that awning. Alright. This specific one, I am not exactly sure of. I know if you took it this way, there is a wall over here that you can get straight up. This wall would allow you to do it as well. But even not, like, even if there wasn't a Pharaoh Mercy, you usually want to come in from above because it's just a lot harder to see, a lot, harder to understand where it's coming from. Provide you a lot more options. Secondly, with this whole point, you're pretty distraught on what to do. Okay, at this point, you gotta shit or get off the pot. Okay, good. Basically, launch yourself at the McCree or launch yourself at the point. It's hard. There's no right answer. Just make one. That was the one thing. When you're in that corner and you're really looking at what to shoot for, just lay the pressure on the choke point. That's your highest chance of success. Hunting for the Pharaoh Mercy, it's going to be rather difficult. And basically, you wasted 3 seconds, which is an entire clip. Okay, go up top. You know that's where he's going. Got this. You had a couple shots in your clip still. Okay.
No one can hide from my sight.
Okay. Well, you got Widowmaker ult. Really helped you out there. Personally, I would go to a different spot. I guess they do have a Pharah. I would still prefer the high ground, because you can always retreat to the low ground. This one, you actually have to retreat all the way out. Like, the thing is your positioning, it was very defensive, which is fine. It's safer. But it didn't allow you the option to be aggressive. Right? Like, if you were above them when that Zarya ult went off, you could have dove on their backlines, right? There's a lot more aggressive options, which does come with more risk, but it's nice to have those options. The only downside is if the Pharaoh Mercy saw you there beforehand, you may would have a little bit of a struggle. Just had to keep on diving. I shouldn't say diving, juking their attacks. Oh. Oh, you're deaf. Okay. Alright, you got it. Whew. I was not expecting him to live through that. Alright, trap this way just for information, if nothing else. At least this is what I do. That works too, but they can go from where they're at to where you're at now, and technically you wouldn't know. Also, you can't take advantage of a trap that gets hit over there. Okay. Off by a second. Obviously, could have been a better tire, but whatever. There's nothing really to correct there. Wasn't a bad attempt to get out. Yeah, there's actually very little to correct on the third point. It all happened so fast. Oh, look, he skips it for me. What a nice guy. He lost to some Trig Tau. Well, that first point on Dorado, it it can go either way. Also, when you're up there, always check that no one's doing anything sneaky on top of this house. So this is what I always do. I always attack there, because if they're putting up a shield, then at least makes them pay for it. Sometimes things like that happen. See, this is when I would go to the far right immediately. So here I would... Yeah, I would actually ignore... This is perfect. You want to trap yourself in there. Okay. You want to retrap yourself as soon as possible. Best you could have done in this situation. So there's always the question, should you flank deeper? It is... I don't think there ever is a right or... I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Because you are challenged for time. You only had 1 minute, and flanking takes time. Don't forget that. So if you try to flank all the way around, would it have gotten you anything worthwhile? Maybe. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. That's just a happenstance type deal. So here's where I would already drop down, because I don't think you're going to get anything here. They're so far below you that you're not going to be able to get a good angle on them. Okay. Just get out of there. Yep. Now they have a Junkrat and a Pharah, which means they have no hit scan. This does allow you a smidge more ability to flank. Are you waiting for the Pharah Mercy on that side? Because you're giving up a lot of positioning right now. He tried. Okay. I mean, overall, that wasn't a terrible game. Really, like, it wasn't a terrible game at all. Whoop. Hold on. Whoop. No one saw that. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Oh, it's a Wizard of Oz reference. I don't know if anyone got that. So, I'll first say this, like, your mechanics are lacking, but this comes in time. Whoop. I usually just do this. There is... That's a G. That's not an E? Practice. The only thing I would say about your mechanics is sometimes you aim too low. That's it. And it's every now and then. It's not a big deal. But as I was always told in yoga, and when I did my yoga training and all that stuff, like, practice and all is coming. That's what they used to say. Just keep on practicing, you'll get there. There's nothing, I think, specifically you need to focus on with your mechanics. I think all of your ideas are pretty damn good. And while your mechanics can clean up, there's literally no reason to talk about this, because all they'll say, and a lot of people say this, they'll just be like, get good. And that doesn't really help you. So we look at your positioning. your positioning. Okay, so what I was noticing on the first point is that I don't even want to call it rotate, but rotate faster. At least with the part on not Junkertown, Dorado, you were staying up here defending the first point, and you were shooting. That's a terrible arc. You were shooting like this. Like, as soon as the payload gets here, you're not really hitting anyone. If you are, you have to move up, which is very risky. It opens yourself up to the entire team. So at that point, just get to the choke point, set up your little rat hole, and start defending it with all your might. If they have faster characters like Genji or Tracer, it's already possible that they're past the choke point and you can't get to where your strength is. That's actually a pretty dangerous situation. Along with the rotating faster, I don't want to say this is right or wrong, but on point 2, I discussed this when it was happening. You defended way far in the back, inside, which is really safe for Fair Mercy. But again, it removes your options to be aggressive. Sometimes the only way to win a fight is just to go fucking super forward and kind of get them that way. But when you're in the open, obviously you're more vulnerable to the Fair Mercy. Maybe don't engage them. You know, maybe engage them. Like, just keep on dodging. Don't worry so much about shooting them. Just worry more about survival. So, and the thing is that sometimes it's right to play safe, and sometimes it's right to play aggressive. It matters on the situation. It really sucks that there's no easy answer. But when you're doing something like, and this is very vague, whenever you have your positioning, understand the pros and cons of what you're doing. So, in this extreme example, you were sitting back, second point defense, inside the bank, almost inside the bank vault. What it provided you for safety, you gave up the ability to really attack and any sort of options, right? So when you have high ground, one of the main things that high ground gives you is options. So you can jump on them whenever you want. You can not jump on them whenever you want. You can actually sit back and hide. Like, it provides you a lot of things you can do, and that's available to you because of positioning. With such defensive positioning, you actually give up everything offensive, and sometimes that works. In fact, on the first point, when we talk about holding the first corner, you're actually doing this. You're staying inside. You're playing the flank. You're putting a lot of damage on the main choke point. But in that case, on the first corner, like, it's a major intersection. They get stuck there for a while. You have good bank shots. They can't really get through it quickly. But where we were at with the bank vault, like, I mean, the bank vault's over here. Like, they can go. The Pharaoh was looking about flanking this way. They could just ignore you and go this way. They can also flank over the top this way, or they could go around like the far flank this way. Right? There's a lot of options available to them. Like, majority is these 3 options are right there available to them. So when your team is out here fighting, the only thing you can do is shoot out this, right? Maybe you can rotate here and then rotate up and above, but by that time they already took the high ground. It's completely different if you're on the high ground and you're just giving their Pharaoh Mercy shit. And the funny thing about shooting at a Pharaoh Mercy, at least in some aspects, Junkrat's grenades, they go up and then they come down. So if you're shooting at a Pharaoh Mercy, it's very possible, depending on your trajectory, that those shots come back down on the main attack. The other thing with your positioning, and I guess we could put this in logistics, which is like ability usage and just movement. I guess actually rotating faster is technically a logistical level type change, because that's how you get places. Not only trap more, because we always say that, but trap or at least, how do I want to put it? Obvious traps? I don't... Notify traps. Or info traps. Info traps. So, you can put a trap somewhere super damn obvious where someone will blow it up. We talked about it when that McCree flanked on you, and I just put it right in the middle of the crossroads of an intersection. It has a high chance because just people can walk on it, but everyone's going to see it, so they're just going to shoot it. But if they shoot it, then you know something's happening. You know you're getting flanked, and that's worth a lot. So that's kind of what I mean by info traps. I think on the third point of Dorado, that's going to be your most useful type of trap. It's just a big wide area for the main attack route. There's very little, side routes that people take. Everything's pretty obvious whenever you throw it on the ground. So it is actually, now that I think about it, it's a little tough to get like a good trap spot on the third point. But information traps are plentiful because all the flanks are extremely thin. And they will have to destroy your trap to get through it. Your tires were decent. A couple of them, they didn't happen. That's alright. That happens. You really, no Junkrat can ever say that's bad because that's what happens to everyone. But for the information level, sound would be incredibly important. There's a couple times when we heard stuff happening, and I know we can see through walls in the review, but you could definitely hear people behind you, and that would change how you play going forward. The other information thing is one way to ignore Fair Mercy. One way to deal with Fair Mercy is just to ignore them. Focus your attack on the main part of the group. Allow your team to deal with the Fair Mercy. If they start attacking you, focus on survival. So the whole thing about surviving is, and we've talked about this in my blogs, is that as a DPS class or as a DPS hero, the hero is designed around being able to be mobile to keep damage on or keep damage going. So you want to practice surviving as much as possible so you can keep outputting as much damage as possible. That's basically how the role works. Survival is the first and foremost thing you're going to have to do. So if you're attacking or you're getting attacked by a Fair Mercy and you're just dodging their shots and they're not getting anything out of that, that's perfect. That's 2 of their heroes down. It's only 1 for you. As you get better, you can actually shoot on the main force while watching them. And just staying evasive. I'm not saying you're always going to win because of that, but sometimes you just have to, that it's a bit of a waste to shoot at them. If you have their attention, just do something else and allow them just to, fuck around. The one last thing that I want to remark on is panic, and I didn't really notice it too much, but I definitely noticed it when you defended the first point, I believe the first time. In which case, you heard a Fair Mercy to your right, the choke point was to your left, and they were coming through the choke point. You were not shooting anything because you didn't know where to shoot. So, just focus on what you can get, and what you can get is damage on the choke point. If there's too many variables, just kind of ignore some of them and work on the ones you can deal with and you can understand. Because the Fair Mercy, really, if you're tucked in that one corner on the first point, Fair Mercy is not going to be able to do much to you, and you can keep on outputting damage onto the choke point in a very, I'd say, reliable manner for a Junkrat. Because essentially the choke point works like this, right? And then there's the doorway right here. And right, you have this, and then you have that. So your shots actually take up a good chunk of the choke point. So it's actually quite reliable. But saying don't panic is tough. That takes practice. That's all. The way you can start not panicking is just focusing on things you can do. Don't worry about all the things you can't do. You can't do anything about it. But overall, like, a lot of your methods, a lot of your actions, I will say, are pretty spot on of what they should be. Things can be cleaned up. You can do a little things better, but that's about it. I think you're doing pretty damn well for whatever SRE level you're at. And then at the higher levels, like in GM, Junkrat seems to be really, really risk reward. You have to do some stupid stuff to try to get them to work, but that's a tale for a different day. Once you get there, then you can worry about that. But right now, fundamentals. Okay, that will be that one.